This is the Aaron Cruz Show. Politics for the people and by the people. With your host, Aaron Cruz.
Good evening and welcome to the Aaron Cruz Show, Straight Talk with Aaron Cruz, coming to you from the Coachella Valley in Palm Springs, California. I'm your host, Aaron Cruz. Thank you for joining me. Here is your weekly political recap. So this last week, we had two big hot topics, and one of them was the border. Unfortunately, when we hit the spending bill this week, we only got a little bit of what we wanted to fund that border wall. We basically got $1.5 billion for border construction. So basically, this week, the border and Planned Parenthood were supposed to be addressed in the omnibus bill, budget negotiations, and while the border wall was funded, the only upshot is that $1.5 billion for construction is actually only for border security. So we need to address that. It's imperative that you as a constituent call your local and state and federal officials to push for full funding and investing in not only border infrastructure but maintenance and employees. And at the very least, if you're against the wall, you need to really look at that for yourself because we have some serious issues across this nation and they need to be addressed. And we are in that border wall and budget issue. We're fully funded through the fiscal year, but unfortunately the negotiations were a sloppy fail. Dems completely ran over weak and half-hearted Republicans cowering. They basically got hit and hit and hit, and they barely got a crumb, the Republicans. They groveled for permission to push the conservative agenda. They got a little bit of what they wanted and making sure that Planned Parenthood funding wasn't really in there, but that's about it. And when they went ahead and they funded the government, they basically handed $298 million to Puerto Rico, basically bailing out their medical system. Talk about sad. We're giving away money to other countries now, apparently. So we need to look at that. I was hoping as the cross of the year came, new administration, that we would go ahead and we would get a little bit of revamping of our perspective and that there would be a shift in the view of what we could do for this great nation. And apparently it's a little bit on the weak side. But as we see, with the whip of the finger, the Republicans take a strong sweep and crush the Democrats with what Dems call a hairpin try to win, and with what I call a strong show of sweep and force, pushing through a revision of ACA amendments, which do just a little to adjust what we need to get the conversation going. We have to get that conversation going. There's nothing more that we can do except for change this horrible pile of junk which has affected our premiums and all of our insurance. It's bleeding our citizens dry, and hopefully this amendment will make that shift. I know a lot of people are really upset about that bill being passed in the House. Well, it's got to make it through to the Senate, and apparently the Senate's going to put up a little bit more of a fight. Some Republicans are calling for amendments to be made within the Senate, and some Republicans are saying throw it out. We don't want it. We want a full repeal. Some Republicans are saying repeal and replace. We want something totally and altogether different. We want to cross state lines. We want this. We want that. And then you have the snowflakes. The snowflakes completely blowing everything out of proportion, worried about pre-existing conditions not being covered, worrying about their grandma and their grandpa being, who knows what. They're throwing fits, I think, just to throw fits. I think they just like to hear themselves talk. I'm not quite sure what they think they're throwing fits about. The news has completely blustered things up. We definitely need to crack down on what our conservative movement hears and listens to across the web. We have to boycott these fake media news outlets. We have to. There's no other way to do it. We need to bleed them dry monetarily. That means stop sharing CNN, stop sharing MSNBC, stop sharing some of these top networks. I'm calling for a boycott. It's the only way we're going to do it. It's the only way we're going to starve the beast. We need to feed our own. We need to listen to our own. We need to make sure that we get out the truth. We have the right people there in D.C. listening to the information that we need to listen to, giving us what we need to do so we can go in our towns and go in our cities and go in our state and make an impact. It's the only way that we're going to do it. And then also we need to talk to one another. We need to share with one another what we're thinking. We can't be yelling at each other. We have to join up. And if we can't agree on everything, we have to find a compromise. Because the long story short is what I see is Republicans can't agree. All right? And what we have to do is we have to find some common ground. We have to find a place to start. And my position is this. I don't fully agree with the ACA. I don't know that I agree with the amendments. But what I can say is that we're doing what the Democrats said we couldn't do. We passed something. Okay? It's going to the Senate. We need to pass it in the Senate. And you know what we need to do? We need to chip at it and chip at it and chip at it until that bill, until our medical and our insurance structure is completely refined. We need to work together and work together and work together and prove them wrong, because when it comes time for midterms, this is what's going to count. And then for 2020, we need another win. There is no other option. After 8 years and a complete failure, breaking down our system from the inside out, we have to pull together. All right? So I would like to hear from you. I would like to hear what you want to hear about on your weekly recaps, what kind of details, how detailed you want me to get. Go ahead and send me emails and inquiries to info@aaroncruz.com, and be sure to like us on social media and share with your friends. We need to get the information out there. We need to unite. We need to talk to each other. We need to support one another. And as always, we want to grow together. We want to find common solutions, find common ground. I will answer any questions I can. Don't hesitate to reach out. We're in this together. You can also look up other resources on my website at www.aaroncruz.com and send me an email that I already listed. Thank you for joining me, Aaron Cruz, on the very first edition of Straight Talk with the Aaron Cruz Show. Join me again this next Tuesday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Political Core, where we will discuss a few bits left about the border versus the media, and we will have a great show on the ObamaCare and where we stand on the issues that matter to you. This Thursday, join me for the Queen of Politics, where we will have some hot topics that I've been picking apart with experts out in the field. Have a blessed evening all, and God bless you, and God bless America.
To hear more and to learn more on how you can make an impact or about the Aaron Cruz Show, visit us online at aaroncruz.com. That's ERINCRUZ.com. Thank you for joining us, and see you at the same time and the same place next week.